What you are about to see is live, raw, real answers at roughly 10 p.m. to text message questions that I receive after our final service on Sunday nights at Mars Hill Church. Some people fear that using pagan mediums to present Christ will serve more to paganize the church than Christianize the pagans. How do we answer those fears? Well, the issue is that in some ways, many things begin by, we'll call them pagans, non-Christians. The question is, can those things be redeemed? Redeemed in a way that honors Jesus, right? I'll give you an example. The internet, right? It can be used for child pornography or sermons. It depends on how you use it. The printing press can be used to publish Bibles and good Christian books or really gross, nasty, vile trash. Depends on how you use it. There are certain pagan mediums that I would never encourage. Like some churches are into something called the prayer labyrinth. I don't know if you've seen this. You kind of walk in a circle. Well, the whole point of it, it's pagan in that you continually circle in on yourself. And the final objective is you keep looking inward, 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 because the answers are in you. As Christianity, we believe that the problem is in us and the answer is in Jesus. So our goal is not to fix our eyes on ourselves. Hebrews says our goal is to fix our eyes on Jesus. My goal is not to turn into myself. Martin Luther actually said that that was the definition of sin. Sin is the self bending into the self continually. And salvation is where Jesus, according to 1 Timothy 2:5, our mediator, reconciles us to God and gets us out of this vicious loop of me and reconnects me to God, so it's about Him. There are certain things that are pagan, like, the prayer labyrinth, that I would say, yeah, there's no place for them. But there are other things in culture that I think can and should be redeemed. And again, back to my initial point, radio was invented, let's say maybe it was the 1900s. Radio can be used to have all kinds of grotesque talk or to put Bible preachers out. It depends on how you use it. Right? That things are tools, they're opportunities, and it depends on how they are used. So at Mars Hill, we tend to break things into three categories: what we reject, right? What we receive, and what we redeem. This is my missiological categories. Rejecting. We reject pornography. There is no such thing as Christian pornography. What? No, we don't have that. We don't have Christian alcoholics. We don't have Christian crack pipes with verses on them. We reject that. There are things we receive, right? We'll receive the fact that the printing press was a great gift to be used. We receive the fact that a sound system is a great gift. We'll receive the fact that now there are more screens in churches than movie theaters. And we receive that as a technology to be used. There are things that we redeem. We redeem sexuality. We believe in sex, but we do it differently than people who don't know God. Right? We believe as well, for example, in, maybe right legal consumption of alcohol, but not in the way that alcoholics and people who abuse it do. We redeem it and use it biblically for the glory of God, meaning in moderation, not breaking the law or causing anyone to stumble, like Jesus did. The question is, what do you reject? That's just not right. What do you receive? That's perfectly fine. What do you redeem? That could be used in a good way. It could be used in a bad way. It all depends on how you use it. Just because something was invented by a pagan doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be used for the glory of God. I'll give you another example that comes to mind. In the Old Testament, when it came to building the temple, the most holy place where God, dwelt in glory on the earth, when it came to building the temple, they chose to employ a group called the Sidonites. And the Sidonites were not Christians. They didn't love and worship the God of the Bible. They weren't part of the Jewish people. But they were hired because they were very, very good woodworkers. God wanted excellent craftsmanship. It doesn't mean that He endorsed their pagan religion, but He gave them gifts even though they were not Christians, and their ability could be used for His glory. I would say the same is true of such things as technology, and that's why we use it. So I think the question is not just to ask, what is the origin, but truly, what is the theology that's being communicated through? Is it something we reject? Is it something we receive? Is it something we redeem? You can't reject everything. You can't say, we don't wear pants. Pagans invented those. And they probably did, if you want the truth. You can't say things like, I only drive a Christian car. Really? What is that? Is it shaped like a fish? Is it shaped like a cross? I mean, what is that? You know, we live in houses made by pagans. We eat food cooked by pagans. We drive cars, wear clothes made by pagans. We receive those things as gifts from God. Others we redeem, some we have to reject.